I can't really think of any other channels that are on your scale that kind of have that specific Olympic lifting focus. So that's always like extremely insightful. But I like that you bring that perspective into like generic fuckery that goes on in the internet, whether it's covering like Kyriakos or the Ego Olympics you do, or like Joel Seedman, stuff like that. I was actually catching up on one of your podcasts you did with Chris. I think it was the last one you did, but you were talking about Kyriakos, and I wanted to bring this point up because I thought it was brilliant. You were talking about how he's turned into such a meme, but it's like when it starts, it's mockery, but it becomes so ubiquitous in the ether. People talk about it so much, it almost like transcends to reverence.
100%. That is the fitness world of like the early 2000s defined right there. Jason Genova, any of those guys.
Genova.
Yeah.
The throwback.
Yeah. Like it's just, I love it. I love it so much. And I did like a little special on Kyriakos and training for the difficult, and that things being harder or working against something is actually going to make you better. It's going to make you more creative. So in that sense, like optimizing before you work is like kind of that issue of paralysis by analysis, but just in a different way. And I brought up this interview with Jack White talking about, he said, nothing creative has come out of convenience. And I truly, truly believe that. I truly believe that. You want to do something creative, go do it under your circumstances that you have right the fuck now. And don't wait until things are perfect for you. And, but mind you, creativity is not just like, you know, being weird and goofy and artsy and shit like that. Like, it's just being an individual. It's just having some level, like it's just being unique. And those are important things to train yourself. Those are important things, because who's the one going to the gym? You are. Who's the one inside your mind when you're lifting? You are. So you're the only one that's going to know what you can and can't do at that moment. And you're the only one that's going to decide what you're going to do going forward. That is creative. By all accounts, that is creativity. And so many people want to stop before they start. That it really sucks. It's the big point of contention. And that's what I bring up with the Kyriakos video of like doing things for the difficult, is that you can build creativity out of difficult things, out of inconvenience. You can build capacity for doing harder things. You know, that's within the definition itself. And I think that that is incredibly valuable. And as much as we make a meme out of Kyriakos, that simple saying, training for the difficult, can mean a lot.
I think there is a gap too in lifting culture with regards to that. I think at some point people tried to do this and they tried too hard and got cringy, but there almost seems to be an element that's like lacking as far as philosophy in general, like that specific philosophy, but also like just in general, what does lifting do for your life? How can you take the lessons you learned here and apply it in other arenas? Like, how can you have this thing lead to not just like being bigger or stronger, you know, having bigger shoulders to carry heavier burdens, but to actually use it as a character developing tool? It's like the same reason we keep sports in high school. You know, we don't keep football in high school because we like watching 14-year-olds run into each other at full speed. As fun as that is, we keep it in because it's a very valuable building experience, and it is difficult, and it makes you figure out like what you're made of. What can you tolerate? Like, you go in with sweaty palms because you just know it's going to suck, but you keep showing up over and over, and that molds you. And I do wish that that was a bigger part of kind of the lower level of lifting culture that you kind of have to get through before you earn the right to move up. I like Kyriakos too, because aside from the fact that he's such a house, and I mean, he's legitimately physically impressive. I mean, he's 400 plus pounds doing the splits, but he's also not a charlatan. Like he doesn't go in the same camp as like a Seedman, because he's not out like trying to push a way or a method or whatever. It's like this guy's just doing him on a big scale, and it turns out wonderfully.
So of all the things that I think, like I could write a I could write a book on charlatanism because it messed with my head a lot. Guys like Joel Seedman, the guys at Goda, Liver King, it plays with my emotions too much. And when things mess with my head and my emotions, like I got to do research. I got to see why. I have to understand. And I have a bunch of videos. One of them's, and you did this, right? How to spot a charlatan. It's so funny because like I didn't see yours. I think, but our titles are almost the exact same.
Well, I only made mine after I saw yours, because I'm constantly trying to siphon ideas off the internet. So you had the original one sometime back, and I'm like, who is this guy? And I did a reaction video. So then I saw that you put out another one coincidentally. But it's like there's so much material there, because
I love breaking it down into finite terms. And some of my favorite ones are like sacred knowledge, exclusivity, in-group, out-group, because those are broadly used with all charlatans. And then when you put pressure on the charlatan, all they do is point you towards the knowledge that everyone knows. So a great example is Joel Seedman. When he was there was a point where Mike Israetel put a little bit of pressure on him. Beautiful. And all he did was just create scenarios where everyone would have to agree with him. Right. And the Liver King, whenever he's pressed, he just says, well, all I want people to be is healthier. Sure. Organ meats, sleep, sun exposure, physicality. No one's fucking arguing that they're not healthy. Right. It's the packaging and the absolutism and the way that you present it is what we don't like. And it's so oddly profound that they can never address that. It always seems like I am arguing against their methodology. You see how, like, none of them, I've pressed them all, and none of them understand that. The Joel Seedman, you press him, he's like, no, like my methodology, like these things that I'm saying, like they work, blah, blah, blah. No, I'm not arguing that. It's your packaging. It's you. I don't like you. Goda, the exact same thing with Goda. If you want to tell me that people are not, pronating, where your foot, the arch collapses too much and people are pronating their foot too much, their idea is like the toe needs to be in and the heel needs to be out in order to like basically maintain some sort of arch. Gotcha. That is not sexy. That is not new. That's like every fucking PT ever says something like that. But they decided to create an entire system around it and then say that anything outside of that system fucking sucks. And they're going to spend all of their time saying that. That's what I don't like. I would love to actually implement some of your exercises with some of my people. I think they would work. But everything else you say about talking about reverse movement technology and that a deadlift will harm you in a normal body, in a normal squat and bench press, all these things are bad for you. I fucking hate that. Right? I could say the same thing about Liver King. He does the same thing. So that's ultimately was my mission for a while on YouTube. Let's define the bounds at which these charlatans operate so we can be aware of them. And I will allude to something right now that I'm working on, but I can't give it away. It's a pretty big piece of content. It's with a pretty big creator, and it's about a pretty big charlatan, and it's, hopefully gonna break the internet with the news. So
is it a charlatan you've covered before?
Yes.
It is. Okay.
And it's big.
Really?
Yeah, it's big. So that's all I can say about that. That's all I can say about that. And
It's like you're playing just the tip over here. Like now
Yeah.
I'm on the edge of my
Yeah.
seat.
I'm excited about it.
That's cool.
About it. But yeah, so like I don't know. If I was gonna write a little quick book, I think it'd be kind of cool. Because it is transferable to everywhere in life.
Yeah.
Everywhere. I mean, self-help in itself.
So much crossover.
They're like the idea of like self-improvement, self-help. It's a big seller, and there's a lot of charlatans in that field. I mean, you could just go down the line, and everything in sales is a part of charlatanism is enhances the sales that you get.